All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. Let's start out here with a Roelly Winklaar story. Roelly Winklaar at right around 6 weeks out. Now we're starting to get to those freaky physique updates. I've said this weeks ago, but right around 6 weeks out from the Olympia, that's when we start seeing more and more physique updates. We start seeing these freakier pictures. The magic mirror starts coming into play. And Roelly Winklaar, the conversation around Roelly begin again like it does every single year. Now, honestly, if Phil Heath weren't in this lineup, I would say that Roelly has the best arms in that Olympia lineup. I mean, really all you can see in this physique update is his arms. He has kind of a most muscular and then just this kind of candid picture. But honestly, we haven't talked about Roelly much going into this year's Mr. Olympia, and that just goes to show how good of a lineup it really is this year. That Roelly is a guy that's not being talked about as even really a top 6 guy. I haven't heard too many conversations about Roelly in the top guys, and he is one of the top guys, and he always has that potential. I mean, you got Phil, you got Brandon, you got Hottie, you got Bonac, you got Big Ramy, you got Roelly Winklaar. You've got all these guys. I think there's like over 20 guys qualified right now too. And you've got all these really good bodybuilders, and Roelly Winklaar has kind of been forgotten about. I mean, think of how exciting of a lineup that really is. That a guy that looks like this, a guy that has arms like this, is one of the least talked about guys going into a show. That's how good this year's Mr. Olympia is going to be in December. We've been waiting all year for it. I could not be more excited. After the Arnold Classic, after the Expo got canceled and all these shows started getting canceled, I really thought there was a real possibility that we might not have a Mr. Olympia competition this year. We didn't really know what direction things were going to go, when all this stuff started. So we kind of started out the year in the bodybuilding season without knowing whether or not we would get to see a Mr. Olympia. Now we're staring down the barrel of possibly one of the most competitive and best Mr. Olympia lineups ever. Now, speaking of the Mr. Olympia, the next story I want to talk about, Shawn Rhoden. Let's not forget about Shawn Rhoden. Shawn Rhoden is your 2018 Mr. Olympia champion, and he does have a court case ongoing right now that is going to determine not only his future in bodybuilding, but also his future as a free man or not. But look, I kind of want to keep Shawn in the news cycle and still post physique updates of Shawn, because whether he's guilty or innocent, the opportunity was taken away from him to defend his Olympia title. He did win in 2018, and since then he was never beaten because he never had the opportunity to step back on stage after that. And I think that is unfortunate, especially if he is innocent. Now, granted, we don't know. It's not over yet. There's not been a decision yet. But I do want to keep Shawn in the news because he is still training as if he is going to be making a comeback one day. And he has said in interviews he intends to be on stage again one day. So he posted this training video. Obviously, he's looking a little bit bulkier than usual. You're seeing a lot of these guys prepping for the Olympia. They're 6 weeks out. They're in the middle of their diet right before a show. Shawn Rhoden, he's living his best life, man. He's eating those big cookies. I see him posting that on his Instagram story. But I do want to keep him in the news cycle because Shawn still is training. He still is living like a bodybuilder. And I know that he still intends to compete, assuming the result of his court case comes out in a positive fashion. And I certainly hope that's the case. Number one, because Shawn has always seemed like a really good guy to me, so I hope that things come out in a positive light for him. And number two, I hate to see someone like Shawn he's older. He spent a long time as a competitive pro bodybuilder. Finally, he beats one of the best bodybuilders ever, Phil Heath. He is the guy that dethroned Phil. He finally beats him, gets that Olympia title in 2018. And then from that point on, he's not allowed to compete. He can't defend his title. He can't compete at the Olympia. He can't compete at the Arnold. I mean, I just feel bad for him. Again, only if he's innocent. Now, next up in the news, let's get to a powerlifting story here. Now, one of my favorite powerlifters, he's a bench press specialist, Julius Maddox. He is the current raw bench press world record holder. He is on the road to an 800-pound bench press. Well, recently, he did something that seems unimaginable to the average person, unimaginable to the advanced powerlifter. He bench pressed 525 pounds for a total of 50 paused reps during the entirety of his workout. He did 10 sets of 5 paused rep bench press with 525 pounds. At one point in time, 525 was the all-time Raw world record. Now, it was a long time ago, but this is a man who was doing it 50 times in one workout. This is going to be the man that breaks his own record and gets the first ever 800-pound Raw bench press. Julius, he is truly a freak of nature. Now, next up in the news, let's get to some forbidden fruit here. The guy that you guys hate when I talk about, Kai Greene. Now, we are 6 weeks away from the Mr. Olympia, and every year, Kai Greene teases his fans. He hints at his fans. There's a possibility he might compete. Now, of course, a lot of you guys sent me this post. I said I'm not going to talk about Kai and whether or not he's going to compete at the Olympia again, but I do want to throw the possibility out there because every year I think it is a possibility. Personally, I don't believe that Kai will compete again, but the fact that Kai continues to throw out these hints, I still think is something that interests the fans. Now, this particular post has the caption, "Is there a reason for me to look like this, even if I don't take the stage this year?" Now, the reason why I want to talk about this in a video, because a lot of people thought this post was yet another hint that Kai might be doing the Olympia this year. I don't think it is. You know that he got his teeth fixed. If you look at this photo really closely, you can tell he still has the gap in his two front teeth. I don't believe this is even a recent photo. Now, I think the caption was just another troll. I think at the end of the day, look, I would bet a lot of money that Kai Greene is never going to compete at the Olympia again. He doesn't need to. He doesn't have to. And the only reason I'm really talking about this post is not to throw out the suggestion that Kai might compete, but to kind of put that rumor to rest. I don't think this is a recent picture of Kai. I don't think Kai is doing the Olympia. I do think this picture was 100% just a troll and nothing more. I don't even think it was a hint that he might compete. I think it was just a troll at this point. I don't think Kai has any intention of competing. I think he knows that you guys know that. I think we all know that. And honestly, I think he missed his chance. I think if he competed last year, he would have had a real shot at winning. But this year, there's some heavy hitters, and I don't think Kai would win this year's Mr. Olympia, to be honest with you guys, even if he did compete. You know, last year, everybody said if Kai did it, he had a solid chance of winning. That would have been his title. Look, this year, you got Phil Heath, you got Big Ramy, you got Brandon Curry. You got Hadi Chupin. Kai has never competed against Hadi Chupin. William Bonac. Hadi never competed against William Bonac after William came into his prime. You've got guys that I think could beat Kai that are just top three guys, let alone the Phil Heaths, the Big Ramys, the Brandon Currys. So to everybody that asked me today, I do not think Kai is doing it, and I do not think Kai will ever compete on an Olympia stage again. I will say it one more time for the people in the back. I don't think Kai will ever do the Olympia again. Now, next up in the news, with the Olympia comes new sponsorships. William Bonac, who was runner-up last year at the Olympia, he just signed a brand new supplement sponsorship with SciTech Nutrition after being for years with USN. But apparently he says, I have been without a sponsor for almost a year now, which is absolutely insane considering the fact that he's a Mr. Olympia runner-up. He's an Arnold Classic champion, and he didn't even have a supplement sponsor. So William Bonac just picked up a new sponsor right before the Olympia. Now also, Redcon 1 picked up Max Charles right before the Olympia. Max Charles also qualified for the Mr. Olympia. So I think when you're talking about physique updates and Olympia prep and stuff like that, I think when these bodybuilders pick up a major sponsor right before a show like the Olympia, I think that is something that works in their favor, and that's something that people should be noting, because that could be something that takes a lot of stress off the bodybuilder, provides, whether it's more food, more gear, more free time, more rest time, more training time, by having that extra income. That could be something that gives that bodybuilder the extra edge in a competition like the Olympia, where moving up one placing could be $100,000 difference. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, Calum von Moger. Apparently, the official number now is 3 weeks out. I've been getting confused because I've been hearing that he's 8 weeks out. I've been hearing he's 3 weeks out. Then I heard that he was like a week out. And I heard all these different rumors, but he posted a video on his YouTube channel saying 3 weeks out. And his coach, Eric DeLauer, I believe his name is, also posted a series of physique updates at 3 weeks out. And he looks really good, honestly. Calum, I think, looks really impressive. His conditioning looks good. His size looks decent. He was a lot bigger, honestly. I'll show you guys a picture from when he competed. He was a pro I believe, in NABA. So he was never an IFBB pro, but he was a pro within another organization. And he was a lot bigger back then, I feel like, than he is now. He was competing as an open bodybuilder. Now he's competing in classic physique, so he does have a weight cap to meet. So there is that difference. But in these pictures that his trainer posted, and in his YouTube video in particular, I think Calum actually looks like he's in really good shape. And I think Calum could be one of those guys that competes at a bunch of these, lower level shows. I mean, Calum, when we talk about really good, high caliber physiques, typically we're talking about pros. And we talk about Calum is an amateur. He's still in the NPC. So when we talk about his physique or we criticize his physique, keep in mind, Calum could probably win 99.9% of NPC shows out there any day of the week. He's got a movie star good physique. He's been a pro in other organizations. He's won the Mr. Universe in other organizations. Just for whatever reason, through bad luck or bad fortune, he was never able to get that pro card in the IFBB because of all these injuries and all these things that he's done that is just kind of, just bad timing. So honestly, based on what we're seeing here and seeing in this YouTube video especially, I think Calum's actually going to do good at whatever show he's doing. He hasn't actually said the name of the show, and I think he's changed his mind a couple different times because honestly, I think he's changed the number of weeks out that he actually is at least once or twice. But right now, apparently it's 3 weeks out. So we're looking at the end of November, early December. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. It's amazing for me to say this, but we are only 2,000 subscribers away from hitting 1 million subscribers. I feel like it was just a week ago that I was saying we're 50,000 away. We're 100,000 away. We're 2 away. And I think it's mind-blowing. So I want to thank you guys ahead of time. So if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. We're almost there. We're going to get there together. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, Nick Strength and Power, signing out.